Hello, and thanks for joining me again. It's Easter season, and I remember many traditions, but the most vivid one is having oven-baked lamb's head on Pasquetta, which means Little Easter, the Monday following it. And they may not be that pretty to look at. Look like this, of course. It's a lamb's head. I think you can get them in most butcher shops during this time of the year. But I think they are delicious, and they go very well with homemade red wines. And this is the preparation process I go through. The first step is to let the lamb's heads sit in a lot of water with about a tablespoon of salt for an hour. And this will clean them thoroughly. Somebody has to keep the traditions going. Somebody has to maintain them and also have some fun at the same time. So all the cold water and salt are doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is thoroughly cleaning these heads by drawing all the blood out. And while this has been happening, I've prepared all the ingredients. I usually use some combination of these, but today I'm using all of them. And they are first some breadcrumbs with some salt and pepper and some hot pepper flakes. Then some chopped parsley, rosemary, some grated Parmigiano cheese, and a little bit of grated garlic. I'm also going to use some whole pieces of rosemary when I put it in the oven. Smells delicious. I drained the lamb's heads and then I put them again in a lot of water, and this time with about a quarter cup of distilled white vinegar. Let it sit half an hour. I mixed all the ingredients in this bowl, and I made sure that grated garlic is all dispersed and spread out. And I let it just sit half an hour, and then we'll get ready to put them in the oven. Let the lamb's heads drain for about 10 minutes so they're pretty dry. And while that's happening, I just prepare the tray and cut some potatoes in half and put the rosemary, big pieces of rosemary on the bottom of the tray. Drizzle some olive oil on the lamb's heads and the potatoes. Oven to 350. Put them in for half an hour, and then after half an hour take them out and cover them with the seasoning and put them back in for another half hour. Half an hour is up, so I'm going to brush on a little olive oil on the heads and the potatoes so they don't get too dry before I put on the seasoning. The brain is the best part in my opinion, so you want to make sure you keep that nice and moist, and it's in the cavity. It's easy to get some oil in there. I distribute the seasoning as evenly as possible, and I'm going to drizzle just a little bit of olive oil so it stays moist. These are now ready for the oven for another half an hour. After half an hour, the heads are cooked, and to make sure you just taste the tongue. And if that's reddish, you might have to put it back in for a few minutes, but if not, it is done. And this goes really well with a glass of homemade red wine. To be honest, I really don't know if this dish is still prepared, eaten, and enjoyed in the Abruzzo region of Italy where I was born. I know I can't have it with all my family members and friends. It's a gamey dish. Not everyone likes it. But it's a tradition. When you start eating this plate, you might be able to begin with a fork and a knife, or even chopsticks for that matter. But at some point, you're going to have to use your fingers. And you might even need a pair of pliers to break some of the bones. The fun part about it is sitting down with relatives and friends with a nice glass of wine, talking, enjoying, and remembering. Thanks for joining me again. Buon appetito a tutti. Testuccia di agnello.